guys, it's Angelo, and Blizzard is continuing its streak of rolling out changes, as today we've gotten even more changes, this time in form of a completely reworked Covenant ability, now called Fae Guardians, and 2 new Legendaries, one general legendary and one specifically for Shadow Priests. Especially when concerning Fae Guardians, which replaces Fae Blessings, there is a lot to talk about, while both legendaries seem interesting for sure, with the Shadow Priest legendary quite likely becoming very powerful. As always, if you want to join the discussion with everything World of Warcraft related, be sure to join the Discord server with the link in the description box below. If you want to stay updated on the content of this channel, then be sure to subscribe, and please like this video if, well, at the end, you feel that it was helpful to you. Alright, now without any further ado, let's go right ahead and have a look. Okay, we'll start off with the changes to Fae Blessings. Fae Blessings was our former Night Fae Covenant ability, and it has now been completely reworked. I'll display the blue post for you guys now, so let's go through it step by step. In the latest build we have made some significant changes to Fae Blessings. We heard feedback that it wasn't quite hitting the mark for a Covenant ability, and we agree. In reworking this ability, we want to address Power Word Shield, add a personal benefit to the spell, and make the spell more usable for Shadow Priests, while still keeping its identity as a powerful group support spell. The ability is now named Fae Guardians, to better represent the new design and to differentiate it from Blessings of the Seasons, which is the Paladin iteration of the essentially same spell. Fae Guardians is on a 1.5 minute cooldown and calls for 3 Fairy Guardians to attend your targets for 20 seconds. The Wrathful Fairy, your direct attacks against the target restore 1% mana or 6 insanity, and it follows your Shadow Word Pain. Your Guardian Fairy reduces damage taken by 10% and follows your Power Word Shield. Your Benevolent Fairy increases the cooldown recovery rate of a major ability by 100%. It follows your Shadow Mend or your Flash Heal. Rather than using up charges, you can now manage the persistent fairy buffs. Each fairy can only exist on one target at a time though. When you cast Fae Guardians, the Guardian and Benevolent Fairy will be summoned immediately on yourself. You can then cast Power Word Shield to move the Guardian Fairy to your desired target, Shadow Mend or Flash Heal to move the Benevolent Fairy, and Shadow Word Pain to apply the Wrathful Fairy. Note that the Wrathful Fairy only restores mana or insanity for the priest and not their allies. Our goal is to make the ability more flexible, require less maintenance, and provide fun gameplay for all 3 priest specializations. Okay, now before we talk about the new legendaries, let's actually take a few minutes and talk about Fae Guardians directly. This rework certainly brings more to the table than Fae Blessings did, especially so for the Shadow Priest, but actually just as much for the Discipline Priest. 1% mana generation or 6 insanity when using Shadow Word Pain is very nice for all 3 specs, as all 3 specs are able to cast Shadow Word Pain in Shadowlands, while the damage reduction of Power Word Shield is especially nice for the Discipline Priest, and adding the damage reduction to Power Word Shield rather than to Shadow Mend like it was previously the case makes a lot more sense because it further enhances the already present strengths of the Discipline Priest itself. Increasing the cooldown recovery rate of a major ability by 100% when using Shadow Mend or Flash Heal in turn is pretty nice for the Holy Priest and ties into its rotation smoothly, though be it perhaps not as smooth or noticeable than when using Prayer of Healing like we had to previously with Fae Blessings to trigger its cooldown reduction effect. At the time of this video, these changes aren't actually live on the beta yet, so we will have to wait and see how they play out. These changes will certainly require less maintenance and min-maxing while staying true to the idea of offering group utility. The idea that the Benevolent Fairy will only apply its benefit to the priest is pretty nice, because this gives Fae Guardians a guaranteed effect on yourself, something that Fae Blessings did not actually have. If you think back to my previous Covenant video, Fae Blessings only had a chance to proc on you just as much as on any other player in the group or in the raid, meaning its benefit was not always noticeable on yourself. With all 3 of these fairies now working in combination with one another, you will always feel one effect on yourself, while the others can be placed on yourself or on any other target accordingly. I honestly quite like it. Again, we'll have to wait and see how this actually performs once it's on the beta. What do you think of this new Covenant ability though? Do you think it'll become a must-pick Covenant now? Or do you think we'll still be able to actually take other options into consideration? I think the latter will be the case, to be honest, but nothing is set in stone yet, of course. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below, and with that being said, let's move on to our new legendary effects. Okay, once more, I'll display the actual effects for you on screen now, fresh out of the patch notes. Please keep in mind that there seems to be a slight mistake here, as Talbot's Stratagem is definitely the Shadow Priest specific legendary, while Measured Contemplation is one for all specializations, and will most likely work by replacing Shadow Mend with Flash Heal for the Holy Priest, as is usually the case with these effects that trigger on or with Shadow Mend. Okay, first off we have Talbot's Stratagem, and it lets your Mind Blast deal 30% more damage while you have Shadow Word Pain, Devouring Plague, and Vampiric Touch active on the same target. This sounds like an incredibly strong legendary, and if it synergizes with Psychic Link, one of our new talents, it'll be even stronger, but more on that in just a bit. Measured Contemplation increases the healing of your Shadow Mend by 50% for every 15 seconds that you do not cast Shadow Mend, and this effect can stack up to 4 times, which in turn would give your Shadow Mend a healing increase of 200%. Again, most likely this will translate into Flash Heal for Holy Priests. This legendary seems strong for healers. I personally can only picture it really working for the Holy Priest, which is the only spec that will be getting a full benefit out of it here, because it's the only spec that would be willing to hold on to a Flash Heal for long enough to actually stack Measured Contemplation up to 4 stacks, and most likely only when playing with the Prayer Circle talent and playstyle, which I had discussed in my Holy Priest first look video in Shadowlands. Even then, 4 stacks is quite a large time investment, so in general, honestly I can't picture us waiting for that long just to use its full effect, which of course diminishes the benefit which the legendary effect actually gives you in a live encounter or combat situation. The legendary should still be a decent pick though nonetheless. Now, when talking more thoroughly about Talbot's Stratagem and its synergy with Psychic Link, we have to admit that this may become quite powerful, not only forcing us to use Talbot's Stratagem, but also forcing us to play with Psychic Link. I'm sure that many Shadow Priests won't have a problem being forced to play with Psychic Link early on in the expansion, but the more critical strike and haste we have, the stronger Auspicious Spirits will become. This legendary could potentially counter the fact that Auspicious Spirits could become dominant, or could rather become the dominant talent, making both talents strong choices currently throughout the expansion, or rather concurrently throughout the expansion, or could just see Psychic Link becoming too strong, as it too will deal more damage, since it'll deal 60% of the damage of a Mind Blast that has had its damage increased by 30%. This can become quite strong very quickly, and I'm honestly kind of excited to test it though. And how will it play when having all 3 dots applied to more than one target, which is especially the case during our Void form or even during Surrender to Madness? Will Mind Blast and the according Psychic Link then deal increased damage to all targets afflicted by all 3 dots? As you can see, the synergy can run quite deep, and I know a lot of you will love this legendary because of its seemingly raw and strong damage output, so I'll be sure to keep you informed. Alright, so far so good. All in all, I'm very happy that Blizzard is releasing so many changes at this point, because so far they definitely help out not only the priest, but the entire game really. It's important to stay in touch with the player base, and the developers are most certainly trying to do so now, as is noticeable by all of these changes being released. Now, I think that other Covenant abilities still need some looking after, specifically the Necrolord class ability, Unholy Nova. It needs some type of mechanic implemented so that we don't have to stand in melee range in order to spread it to our targets. Perhaps like Searing Nightmare. Let it trigger with Mind Seer or perhaps even with Mind Flay in order to justify single target use as well. I think that'd be a great way to not force us to run into melee range all the time just to use Unholy Nova, but anyways, I adrift. What do you think? Do you like the sound of Fae Guardians? What about our new legendaries? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and be sure to try it out should you have access to the beta. Now as always, thank you so much for watching, and if this video was helpful to you, be sure to give it a like, and if you wish to stay updated on my content, then feel free to subscribe. A special thanks to my supporters over at Patreon. As always, you guys help out a lot, and thank you everyone for your support. Now, have a good one, my friends, get excited for Shadowlands, and I will see you all in the next one.